Hello, and thank you for joining my session on channeling UK public R&D policy. I'm going to present a case study in the channeling of public policy into action in the UK. What are the policy goals that are relevant here? Well, two of them come to mind. Reaching net zero by 2050 is all about investment in clean energy solutions and green infrastructure to reduce carbon emissions and pollution. Levelling up is more of a UK specific phrase. It's about national renewal. The intention is to invest £100 billion in additional infrastructure spending on roads, rail and other areas of responsible productive investment which will repair and refurbish the fabric of our country and generate greater growth in the long run. The intention is to use this historic investment to level up and connect the country so that everyone can get a fair share of its future prosperity. And this is all happening in the context of a transport revolution where we need to connect our cities and regions, providing better public transport with improved roads and fast charging, restored railway branch lines and superbus networks. Meanwhile, the UK is aiming for the fastest possible increase in public R&D spending to a target of 2.4% of GDP, focusing on areas where the UK can generate a commanding lead in the industries of the future, which include computing and robotics and AI, and which will attract and kick-start private investment, as well as drive forward the development of technologies of critical importance to the UK by investing in clusters around world-leading universities. It's interesting to look at how the UK government considers their policy levers, the mechanisms for implementing policy and realising their goals. And this slide illustrates the 8 points that are considered. And if you look back after my presentation at what we are applying in this case study, then I'm sure you'll see many of these boxes ticked. It's also interesting to look at the very large but well interconnected network of organisations and their subsidiaries that are involved in distributing R&D investment and in taking initiatives from concept to commercialisation in the UK. At the policy level, if you come down, you start to see things like the industrial strategy, which is uniting the UK's activity, and it channels policy into 4 areas. Very clearly here, AI and data, ageing society, clean growth, and of course the future mobility that I'm particularly interested in, but which has an impact on all the other 3. In terms of transport then, specifically, we know that mobility is undergoing a radical transformation. It has an impact on net zero and on levelling up. So the government, in order to address these issues, set up the Centre for Connected and Autonomous Vehicles. And you've already heard a lot of what I'm saying in my introduction from its head, Ian Forbes. CCAV has very successfully brought together the 3 corners of the policy triangle: regulation, research and development, and testing. The first of these has to be the regulations and the standards. And if you look at these, you can see that around the Automated and Electric Vehicles Act that was signed in 2018, there is also the Code of Practice. There is also a 3-year Law Commission review, which is well underway and is looking at how those regulations and the regulatory framework needs to evolve for the safe and effective deployment of autonomous vehicles, safety being key. Safety in terms of implementation and practice. The Code of Practice itself shows us the way to go there, and that has also been updated this year to enable our accelerated movement towards safe deployment at scale in the public domain. Alongside regulations, there are standards, and not waiting for international standards to be finished off and agreed to by many parties and countries around the world. The UK has taken a lead in creating its publicly accessible standards, PASs, that are looking at things like guidelines for developing and assessing control systems for autonomous vehicles or automated vehicles, for looking at assuring safety for vehicle testing and specification of tests and so on. Those enable us to carry out our research efficiently, effectively, safely. And we have already carried out over 80 major projects in the UK, looking at everything from robo-taxis to pods in the movement of people and in the movement of goods. Examples of these are the Grand Drive, the Human Drive project, 230 miles, a fully automated journey in difficult circumstances, environmental and geographical, from the Midlands of the UK up to the northeast. Another one which I'm very excited by is the commercial bus service that is the Cavforth project, going in and out of Edinburgh in Scotland. This is a full-sized 43-seater autonomous bus that was tested in Manchester last year and is estimated to carry up to 10,000 passengers per week when it's in full service, which is about to happen. Alongside this, we need to be able to test in the most effective and efficient way, and therefore we've invested significant funds in creation of CAM Testbed UK, the Connected and Automated Mobility Testbed for the UK. It is 6 facilities clustered together within a 3-hour drive and all being orchestrated so they are interoperable, can work efficiently and effectively together for the customers, for those organisations that are testing, whether they are public or private organisations, car manufacturers or transport authorities and transport operators. 5 of those test beds are physical, and they range from a controlled environment to the semi-controlled, to the public domain in London and the West Midlands, over 200 miles of instrumented urban, interurban and rural roads. And alongside that, the Convex project, which is a data marketplace, a data exchange, a way of making sure that we can harvest data and turn it into intelligence, insights and decisions. That's a very exciting project alongside the rest of the testbed. And as you see on this slide, which captures not just the range of services, the number of organisations, 28 that are participating in delivering them, but also the word virtual is on here. And what's important to me is that we are making sure we can accelerate testing and development safely through a coupling of physical and virtual testing. Alongside that, we also have 5G facilities and many others in the UK, all of them trying to be integrated so that a customer can come to them and can move seamlessly around the piece. And that comes through thinking very hard about how we can take the lead, be in the forefront and focus on interoperability to deliver safety. Interoperability means looking at specific areas, safety, cybersecurity, both in terms of resilience, and within this is connectivity, which sometimes gets forgotten. It's the forgotten C in CAM or CAB, but of course it's the earliest area for wins. To enable us to test safely, we have developed a safety framework, and this means that you can move from testbed to testbed using the same framework without having to waste time or effort or conflict redeveloping it. We've also looked at cyber feasibility, and a very interesting piece of work that was published in May this year looks at 7 projects involving 23 companies and 1.2 million of funding, and it comes to some very strong conclusions which are steering the UK's future investment in an area where we are, according to the World Economic Forum, cited as being number 1. We want to grow our ecosystem as well. So we're looking at a CAM scale-up program that's now started, and this is unusual in that it is not just drawing out small and medium-sized organisations from the community, but it is putting them together with the testing facilities. So we are making sure that companies with excellent ideas, innovative ideas, are able to explore them and rapidly accelerate them towards commercialisation. The key component of our thought leadership portfolio, however, is the UK Connected and Automated Mobility Roadmap to 2030. This is a strategic decision-making tool. It enables organisations, whether they are in the public sector, the private sector, government, industry or consumer groups, to make decisions that are aligned based on a consensus of opinion. And I say consensus because over 150 organisations came together from across the piece to provide their input into the shaping of this roadmap, which has been launched a year ago and relaunched this month. And we've labelled the update CAM Creators because those that are active in the field of connected and automated mobility have contributed to it, provided their reports, status and progress. And there are 1,600 additional data points in an already very rich piece of work. 117 organisations contributed to that on top of the 150 that originally contributed to the roadmap last year. And in his introduction, David Skip, who's the industry lead for the ICAM mission group of the Automotive Council UK and Director of Autonomous Vehicles and Mobility Strategy and Full Mobility, concluded his introduction with the following. He says, the UK Connected and Automated Mobility Roadmap to 2030 CAM Creators Update holds an ambitious but achievable vision for the UK and is fully shared and supported by the Automotive Council ICAM team. Our collective opportunity is to fulfil the ambition in breadth and depth, and through collaboration, bring the UK to full CAM readiness in these next critical years for the benefit of both society and the economy. And I would say, although the roadmap is a UK roadmap, it is of global relevance and is being used around the world for its strategic potential. And I embrace the opportunity to collaborate with many other countries. What progress are we making? Well, very short and sweet. I will summarise by saying the UK is ranked number 2 amongst the G7 countries for CAV readiness. That means it is well up there amongst the front runners around the world, regardless of grouping. And that's alongside the numbers that I already gave you for the cyber security, where we are number 1 according to the World Economic Forum, and in terms of regulations, where I started and where Ian Forbes outlined what we're doing in terms of being number 1 or number 2, depending on which scale you compare. And further examples of the status of the UK and its attractiveness to companies to come and invest are given here. 2 examples. One is of Waymo's first public acquisition of Latent Logic, which means that they are the first engineering hub outside the US, and that complements Waymo's deal for about 20,000 Jaguar I-Paces in 2018. The Latent Logic was one of the lead companies in one of CCAV's projects, the OmniCAV project. And alongside that, we have Arrival, based in Banbury in the UK, who have had investment by Hyundai and Kia and are now valued at around £3 billion. 2 weeks after the investment by Hyundai and Kia was announced, UPS, the logistics company, also announced a deal which is initially worth £340 million to supply 10,000 electric vehicles. And of course, Arrival will be moving into the autonomous space as well. So these are both very exciting. There is a whole load of exciting work going on in the UK. We are making sure that we carry out our activity across a broad wavefront to make sure that there is no individual area that shoots ahead to the detriment of all the others. We are making sure that CAM is a viable movement that will deliver commercial success and have an impact on UK society as well as the economy. Thank you very much.